Have you found my mother?
No, not yet.
Remember, rumor has it she lives in the slums of the Marais, in the shadow of the Bastille.
Minister Necker claims that you are a familiar face at the Tuileries Palace.
That old story. Will it hound me until I have drawn my last breath? This, madame, is nothing but an unfounded rumor that I am trying in vain to dispel. To what do I owe the displeasure of having to defend myself once again?
I must get hold of some documents that are kept in an armored safe in the King's chambers.
What lock could resist your talents?
Minister Necker said it was indestructible.
Oh, I see. Well, let me think. Who could help you? After all, a lock is nothing more than a simple mechanism. Nothing that can resist the expertise of our dear Monsieur Bailly. Why don't you ask him for help?
I'll be sure to do so.
Now, who else might be of use? Oh, there's Monsieur Lavoisier as well, our gunpowder commissioner. I'm sure he'll have no trouble finding you something you can use to blow the door off that stubborn safe.
Good. I will go and find him.
Now, if you'll forgive me, I have an urgent matter to attend to.
You are forgiven for everything.
In that case, it has been a pleasure, madam.
Monsieur Lavoisier,
What can I do for you, Aegis?
I would like to access the contents of a safe that is supposedly unbreakable. Dare I ask for your help, Monsieur Lavoisier?
And how can I be of assistance to you, madame?
I need gunpowder to break through the door.
Gunpowder? But I don't have a speck of it, mon ami. Do you think I just walk around with explosives in my pockets?
Oh. I apologize. It was Monsieur de Mirabeau's idea.
Mirabeau? What is this ridiculousness? I suspect he knows full well whatever he's playing at. Where is the animal? So we can ask him what's truly going on.
He has left. He had an urgent matter to attend to.
Eh bien, I'm sorry, madame. If I could inspect the safe and determine what metal was used in its fabrication, I might be able to find a solution. But given the circumstances, I'm sadly not in a position to help you.
I understand. How do you intend to counter the King's actions?
Unfortunately, we don't have the upper hand. For now, we can only hope to protect ourselves from him. I am convinced that something is afoot. Something that could destroy all our hopes in an instant.
You have my full attention.
You should know that I am a gunpowder commissioner. As such, I oversee the provision of gunpowder to the kingdom's arsenals, l'Arsenal de Paris in particular. For the past 2 days, a large quantity of gunpowder from Marsangy has been sitting near Les Invalides. It's in a warehouse by the factories. But the men I sent to take possession of the cargo and transport it to the Arsenal have gone missing. Do you realize what this means?
The gunpowder could have fallen into our enemy's hands.
It's possible. One thing is certain. It's enough to destroy half of Paris. Whether it is still in the warehouse or has fallen into the wrong hands, we must find it urgently. Then, if possible, we must neutralize it.
How?
Simply by placing it in contact with water. Nothing could be easier in theory, but we must find a way to flood it.
Flood the gunpowder? You're out of your mind, Lavoisier. We're in the most desperate of situations and you want to deprive us of such a valuable resource. What will our cannons use once we have formed our army of patriots?
Your army, Marquis, is presently but a figment of your imagination.
I see. So you're one of those men who would sound the retreat before the battle has even begun.
I will go to the warehouse. Once I have located the powder, I will decide what to do with it. Goodbye, Monsieur Lavoisier. Monsieur Bailly.
Ah, mademoiselle. I am very pleased to find you here with us within the shelter of these walls.
I'm looking for a way to force a lock that is supposed to be unbreakable. Monsieur de Mirabeau advised me to ask you for help.
But I'm an... Excuse me? Do you mean he left the convent? That's madness. What was so important that he would put himself in such danger?
Intriguing indeed.
How was your search at the Vaucansons' home?
I found this penknife there. I was struck with a vision as soon as I picked it up. I saw Mademoiselle de Vaucanson running from the Comte de Cagliostro. This letter refers to a hiding place where she often sought refuge. It's in the Jardin du Luxembourg.
I know the place. One day, Eugène and I were walking in the Luxembourg gardens when suddenly Athénaïs jumped out from our hiding place like a wild animal. It was a startling, almost frightening sight. The spot is on the edge of the garden, hidden by vegetation between two statues.
I found a document written in a script that I was unable to read.
Let me see. Ah, je vois. These pages were written using some sort of shorthand. A variation on Taylor's system, no doubt. I'm wont to use it myself from time to time while jotting down my ideas as they come.
What does it say?
It's a bit difficult to decipher. Je crois. I believe it's an autopsy report. The author writes that the subject died from a large dose of prussic acid.
What is prussic acid?
My apologies, Aegis, but I'm no chemist. You should ask Monsieur Lavoisier.
Goodbye, Monsieur B. Monsieur Lavoisier.
What can I do for you, Aegis?
What is prussic acid?
It's a volatile compound extracted from Prussian blue, which is a pigment derived from the cochineal, an insect.
What does it do?
Oh, it's a lethal poison, of the most dangerous sort. Though at weaker doses, it merely induces a deep soporific state, or a coma, if you will.
A deadly poison.
Aegis? Is everything all right?
I did not find the warehouse.
Vraiment? It's near Les Invalides, not far from Monsieur de Vaucanson's workshop.
Goodbye, Monsieur Lavoisier.
Eh bien. Do you come bearing news from Monsieur Marat?
No, not yet.
I have it on good authority that he is in the quarries in Montmartre. He's the only person who could show you a way to reach the Bastille. Don't forget.
Is your plan to arm the populace going as planned?
Oh, far from it, madame. The situation is hopeless. Even if they were armed and formed into battalions, the Patriots would not be able to fight.
Why is that?
Most of the strategic points in the city are inaccessible. A strange illness strikes all who try. They are seized by an irrational fear, one so great that those who do not lose consciousness go mad or perish on the spot. This makes it impossible to do anything. Any attempt at an uprising is a fool's errand.
The locations you mentioned share a common feature. A statue holding a lantern.
That's right. From what little I could make out, they appear to be depictions of a Vestal Virgin watching over the sacred fire.
Une lanterne des morts.
What do you mean, monsieur?
Lanterns of the dead. Ancient stone pillars that are found near some cemeteries. Our ancestors kept a fire going on top of them. Today, no one knows what they were used for. A symbol of light triumphing over darkness, perhaps? Others claim that human bones, mercury and lime, were burnt there. Some odious sorcery that was meant to entrap the tormented souls that wandered around the burial grounds.
That makes sense and confirms my observations. I am now certain that the King's lanterns capture the anima essence of the dead who have been cast into purgatory, and that this essence is what allows the automats to stay in motion, without needing a key to wind them.
Pater noster qui es in celis, sanctificetur nomen tuum.
Now that I think about it, madame, you obviously are not subject to the harmful effects of these lanterns.
No, au contraire. When activated, these statues reveal an apparatus that allows me to repair myself.
It follows that if you destroy these lanterns, the people will be free to fight again.
Unfortunately, they are preternaturally strong. Nothing can so much as damage them.
Come now, no metal is indestructible. If we knew what these lanterns were made of, perhaps I could find a way to destroy them.
Where should I start looking?
Start by poking around the factories near Monsieur de Vaucanson's workshop. That's where the automats were forged. I'd wager the lanterns were made there as well.
Were you present when the Estates General was dissolved?
We so positive.
Goodbye, Monsieur de Robespierre. Monsieur Lavoisier.
What can I do for you?
Goodbye, Monsieur Lavoisier.
Has anyone seen Monsieur de Mirabeau?
Monsieur Raymond.
Aegis, we are very pleased to see you again. It was very unwise of us to leave the Société without such a capable bodyguard as yourself. It is a miracle that we got here safely.
What do you want to talk to me about?
Have you ever heard of the Club de Massiac, Aegis?
No, monsieur.
It's an association that meets at the Hotel de Massiac, just west of Les Halles. It counts some of the wealthiest plantation owners in the empire. Those from Saint-Domingue and the Petite Santé, our most formidable adversaries. They are waging a war of influence to keep the slave trade going, and resort to the vilest methods to achieve their ends. They worship nothing but money, and their greed is matched only by their cruelty. Regrettably, my interests occasionally require me to suffer their company. 2 months ago, I was in Le Havre to settle some business with the Admiralty, when I overheard a conversation between 2 planters from Bastère. If they are to be believed, the Club de Massiac is plotting to create sleepless slaves, des esclaves sans sommeil. Those were their exact words. It's hard to say what this could possibly mean, but I fear they plan to administer some foul drug to their slaves to force them to toil day and night, without rest. Our organization will not let these poor souls endure such a hell. Aegis, we must look into this. It is a matter of great urgency.
You speak of greed, Monsieur Raymond. But could you enlighten us as to what makes you any different from the planters you condemn?
What exactly do you accuse me of, Monsieur de Robespierre? S'il vous plaît, do tell.
Do you not also exploit the labor of these poor souls yourself on your indigo plantation?
I fight every minute of every day to improve their condition. No one would have the audacity to deny this.
If that's the case, then why wait? Free them. You preach abolition, yet you continue to line your pockets at their expense. The truth is, you refuse to upend the established colonial order because your entire fortune depends on it.
It's easy to criticize from atop Mount Olympus, Maximilian. You know nothing of the realities of Saint-Domingue. What would happen to all these people if I freed them tomorrow? Without an education, without a livelihood, I would be condemning them to the most abject misery. No. I must act with both compassion and realism.
It is true that every reform must be approached with prudence. This reform is not so difficult. I've begun it myself at La Belle Gabrielle, my plantation in Guyane. There you will not find slaves, but workers who earn a weekly wage. And my plantation is no less profitable.
Ah, yes, profit. Because that's the most important thing. Don't you see, the law of nature gives every man the right to cultivate his own land.
Monsieur, calm yourselves. I implore you. Now is no time to quarrel. What Monsieur Raymond has related to us is extremely worrying. We must find out more about this plot to create sleepless slaves as quickly as possible. Aegis, you are the only one who stands a chance of making it to the Hotel de Massiac alive.
Did you go to the Hotel de Massiac? I was late and more.
See you later, perhaps. Here I am at an impasse. Should I go to the Tuileries to examine the safe? There may be a way to force it open. I could also go back to Les Invalides and search the area around the church where Madame Necker was last seen. I can get to the Tuileries Palace via the Louvre. Then I should be able to enter it through the courtyard. The lock wasn't forced. Whoever opened it had the key. Monsieur Necker's bonds are still there. There's something engraved on it. H.G. Riquetti. Comte de Mirabeau. Whoever broke into this safe left behind the most valuable thing in it. This doesn't make sense. I have just come from the Tuileries. The Armoire de Fer has been ransacked.
Diable. Someone beat us to it. This is very unfortunate. God only knows what we would have found there.
Whoever it was had to fight for it. I found a body there, killed by automats.
Mon Dieu. How dreadful.
Dreadful indeed. Especially since I discovered this in the victim's hand.
And what is that, pray tell?
A dueling pistol. With your name engraved on its plate.
Oh, Mais oui. You're right. It is my pistol. It was stolen along with a number of other things. It happened just before the Estates General at my lodgings in Versailles. But how on earth did my weapon end up in the hands of this poor soul?
I am certain we will find an explanation. Those letters you have. You were about to throw them in the fire, weren't you?
They belong to me, and I shall do with them as I see fit. I don't have to explain myself to you.
I do find it curious how you left the convent without telling anyone. How those letters seem to weigh so heavily in your hands. So these letters appeared as if by magic, just as the Armoire de Fer was being ransacked.
You misinterpret my intentions, but you're right about one thing. I do have a confession to make. You and I serve the same cause. The Queen's.
You claim that we're fighting for the same cause. Very well. I shall give you the benefit of the doubt, and an opportunity to convince me. You can start by telling me about the letters.
My private correspondence with the King. I had a key to the armoire, which served as a mailbox.
Are you conspiring with the King?
No, you don't understand. I was something of a shadow advisor, a diplomat, working in complete discretion. I feared his stubbornness would lead the kingdom to ruin, so I tried to reassure him regarding the aims of the Third Estate. But when Vaucanson told me what happened at Meudon, I realized it was a lost cause.
You claim to be a friend of the Queen.
The King has gone insane. After what happened at Meudon, that much is clear. We can no longer expect any leniency from him. Hence my support for his wife. She's a headstrong woman, and much wiser than she lets on. You must know that she means to put her youngest on the throne, the young prince, Louis Charles. A regency would restore peace and unity to the kingdom. Then all that would remain would be to establish a constitution. I have the support of the people. They trust me. I'm the only one that can bring about these reforms.
I found your pistol in the hands of a dead man. Who was this unfortunate soul?
Mathieu, one of the servants I had sent to retrieve the letters. I gave him the pistol for self-defense. Alas, it seems it was of little use to him against the King's automats.
Tell me, what happened at Meudon?
It's all here in this letter, written in the King's own hand. Please, give it to the Queen. She must learn the truth.
Why were you in such a hurry to destroy your correspondence?
The letters contained sensitive information about my Third Estate colleagues. If it had gotten out, I would have surely lost my allies' trust, as well as any hope of establishing a regency along with it.
field with the dead tree. I might be able to stop this experiment. Antonius's hiding place. A fight took place here. Franciscus Antonius. What unusual names. Whose king could this be? Perhaps the guests at the Cordelier can enlighten me. Monsieur Necker.
Madame? Eh bien, do you come bearing good news?
I found your bonds. Here they are.
I don't give a fig about those bits of paper. I'm satisfied in knowing that they will not serve the king's purposes. All I care about is learning what has happened to my wife.
I am not done investigating yet.
De Grasse, I beg you to search harder. I beg you not to get... Remember, the last time I saw her, it's in the Faubourg Saint-Germain.
Aegis, I'd like to talk to you about my research. Do you have a few moments to spare for me?
Certainly, mon père.
I've carefully collected the testimony of our companions. Then I compared them with the observations made during my investigation of the man who... I came to quite the shocking conclusion. I believe I have discovered how the royal... Like clocks that never need winding. They get their energy from the souls of the dead. They drink from the anima essence that permeates the purgatory described by... These machines feed on the dead. The greater the massacre, the deeper the river where they...
Is there any way to stop the bloodshed, mon père?
I believe there is always hope, Aegis. As long as I remain free to pursue my research, I will never lose faith. I keep thinking about the three Nemes. These echoes. All of this is clearly related to...
The alchemist?
Precisely, mon ami. And this leads me to fear...
What have we to fear from an alchemist who died nearly 4 centuries ago?
Not him, per se. Rather the heretic who is exploiting his discoveries.
What do you fear, mon père?
Nearly 2 months ago, the king forbade anyone from setting foot inside the Église Saint-Jacques de la Bouche. He had the priests forcibly removed. They hardly even... Since then, only our Father in heaven knows what they've been doing there.
Oh dear.
My thoughts exactly, Monseigneur. Legend has it that Flamel was buried with his lapis philosophorum.
What is the lapis philosophorum, mon père?
The Philosopher's Stone. Where do I begin? No one knows its true nature, or even what it might look like. All that is known is that it is said to grant untold... Its very existence is questioned, of course. But if it's... Just imagine what sinister purpose the king and his accomplices might find for it.
What is the lapis philosophorum?
The Philosopher's Stone. No one knows. All that is known... It's very...
Where is this tomb?
In the church's crypt. The priests always ensured that it remained undisturbed. But now they're no longer there to protect. We need to know for certain.
But how? There are automats everywhere.
Aegis,
Oui, mon père.
will you help us get to the bottom of this?
Did you not say that it was impossible to enter the church?
There is perhaps a solution. It's only opened on Good Friday, but this year, I had the honor and good fortune to lead the procession. Here is the key.
Franciscus Antonius. Does that mean anything?
Let's see. François Antoine. No, that doesn't mean anything to me, I'm afraid. Désolé, ma chère.
Goodbye, mon père. My respects, Monseigneur.
I didn't expect to see you again so soon, Aegis. We missed you when we had to leave our shelter at Place Saint. The path that led us to this convent was not an easy one.
Do the four names Franciscus and...
The Franciscus...
Go on.
Franciscus Assisiensis, the founder of the order, and Antonius Patavinus. I'm sorry, Aegis, but that's all I...
Monseigneur.
What can I do for you?
Goodbye,
Allez en paix.
Did you go to the Hotel de Massiac?
Yes. And I found several clues pointing toward... To get to the bottom of it, I must go to a farm in Gros Caillou, where an experiment is... I found a cane inscribed with the name Franciscus. Does that mean anything to you?
No. I'm sorry. Have you visited the farm?
No. See you later, perhaps. Monsieur le Marquis.
I'm listening.
Franciscus Antonius.
Francois Antoine. Hold on. Of course. That's the master arquebusier who killed the beast of Gévaudan. The affair took place during the reign of Louis the Beloved, just a few leagues from the castle where I grew up. I was still a young boy, but I remember it like it was yesterday. It caused a stir all over the country.
I doubt that it has anything to do with my case.
I don't know. I'll let you be the judge of that.
Monsieur le Marquis,
I'm listening.
I went to the meeting point you indicated. I had an unexpected encounter there.
Get to the facts. Who did you meet there?
Madame de Polignac, the Queen's favorite. She made no secret of her reason for being in that desolate place. So now I know all about the precious cargo that is the cause of your great concern.
Seigneur. The children. What happened? Tell me that nothing bad has happened to them.
That remains to be determined. One thing is certain. Charlotte and the evidence points to an ambush by the Duc d'Orléans' men. They apparently...
How the hell did they...
This ambush could not have taken place without an accomplice. You were betrayed.
A plague on Orléans and his damned informants.
That still remains to be seen. It seems that the Duke's men were interrupted. 3 of them lost their lives.
Excellent. I bet it was my hussars who sent the vermin. But why the hell haven't they reported to me yet?
Only they could tell you that.
Would you be so kind as to go and find them? The lives of these... My hussars are stationed at Les Invalides. That's from where they were to set off for Gros Caillou.
I went to the meeting point you indicated. I had
Get...
met... She said...
What?
How? That's 3...
But why the...
Only they...
Which my hussar...
Goodbye, Monsieur Necker.
Madame? Eh bien, Duke.
I am not done in... Monsieur Necker.
Madame?
Do the names Franciscus and...
No. Nothing. I'm very sorry that I'm of no help.
Monsieur B. Does the name Franciscus...
We scholars have the strange habit of adopting names from antiquity. I imagine that we're actually looking for someone named Francois Antoine. But no matter how hard I think, I'm afraid it doesn't ring a bell.
Monsieur Lavoisier.
What can I do for you?
Do the names Franciscus and...
No, nothing really. No, nothing with that name. I'm sorry, madame.
I did not find the where...
Vraiment? It's near Les Alpes.
Goodbye, Monsieur Lavoisier.
So how is Monsieur Marat?
I haven't met him yet.
He is your only chance to reach the Bastille, Aegis. He's holed up in the...
I found a cane engraved with the name. Who could it belong to?
Let me think a moment. Je vous prie. I know an Antoine Francois, a printer on Rue de la Harpe. His surname is Momor, but he is a man of the people and a true patriot. I doubt that he ever sported a cane with his name engraved on it.
Goodbye, Monsieur.
Have you found my mother?
No, not yet.
Remember, rumor has it she lives in the slums of the...
I found a broken cane. It says Franciscus. Do you know who it belongs to?
Well, I never... Yes, I know the... And I'm willing to bet you're looking for a certain...
That's right.
Well, you'd need to look a little further east, mademoiselle. Across the Rhine, for a start. Because this cane belongs, or belonged, to a certain Franz Anton Mesmer.
Mesmer, the prince of charlatans.
Good heavens. It's been a long time since I've heard his name.
5 years, to be exact, since your learned commission denounced his theories.
It wasn't long after that when he disappeared.
Can you tell me more about Mesmer?
He was a mystical healer who was once popular with the upper class. I myself attended several of his sessions.
You mentioned a commission.
The king did not look kindly on the healer's popularity within the court. This led him to appoint a commission from the Royal Academy of Sciences.
An institution to which Monsieur Bailly and I have the honor to belong. We were asked to investigate his alleged powers.
The experiments that we performed allowed us to determine that Monsieur Mesmer's activities were pure charlatanism, a conclusion that destroyed his successful career the moment it was published.
But there was something, Sylvain. A tiny flow of energy that my devices were able to measure.
My dear colleague, must I remind you again that we were never able to reproduce your observations? It was obviously a momentary failure of your equipment.
Perhaps. I'd like to be sure of it.
When and how did Monsieur Mesmer disappear?
The denunciation of his techniques was the start of a long descent into hell for Monsieur Mesmer. He was abandoned by his clients and resumed his research in virtual secrecy. I think he was hoping to perfect his so-called science and restore his reputation with the Academy.
A hope that led him to associate himself with that dastardly Cagliostro. God only knows what experiments they may have carried out. In any case, their collaboration did not last long. Monsieur Mesmer left the kingdom overnight to return to his mother country.
Why did he leave so quickly?
That is a mystery. But those who saw him that morning say it was as if he had the devil at his heels.
This is true. He left in such a hurry that he abandoned everything he owned. Furniture, belongings, and scientific equipment. And it seems that Cagliostro has inherited this treasure.
Is that so? Well, if what you say is true, that broken cane must have passed into the Count's hands.
Yes, it's likely.
This adventurer from who knows where is quite the mysterious character. And he has been very busy recently. I've been able to observe him from my apartments, making frequent visits to Rue Saint-Honoré, on the Tuileries side. I wonder what he was doing there.
What were Monsieur Mesmer's theories?
He is a proponent of a theory called animal magnetism. He claimed to be able to channel a purported universal healing fluid by passing his hands over patients and using magnets.
He also cobbled together a whole array of mad devices, each stranger than the last. Unfortunately, despite all his attempts, I don't know that he ever cured anyone.
What happened during Monsieur Mesmer's treatment sessions?
Oh, they were quite a spectacle to behold. Imagine well-born ladies afflicted with perfectly imaginary illnesses. A dimly lit room where incense has been burned to intoxicate the soul and cloud your vision. Amiable servants, half-dressed, gliding from countess to duchess to the sound of a sensual melody. And the great Mesmer, a doctor with wandering hands, presiding over the wonderful scene. Oh, you should have seen them. Those grand ladies moaning, crying, and falling into a swoon, clinging to that strange tub. Du théâtre, ma chère. Pure theatre.
taken a close interest in this tomb. I will go to the Tuileries and follow the directions on the receipt. It also mentions the Quartier du Saint-Eustache and Rue Saint-Honoré.